Hello, today we are going to talk about FERPA. Now some of you may be sitting there and thinking, FERPA? I don't teach special education. What does FERPA have to do with me? Well, today, hopefully through this presentation, you will realize and learn that FERPA not only is involved in the school office and in the special education classrooms, but it's also an importance to a classroom teacher also. Now first let's talk about what FERPA stands for. FERPA stands for the Family Educational Rights Privacy Act. So this is the act that was passed to protect the privacy of the students that are within our building, all of their educational records. Now this law mainly pertains to students that schools that receive funding from the Department of Education. And as you all know, Scott City Middle School does receive funding, so we are expected to comply with FERPA. Now, each of these words have their own individual meaning. Family being that of the student. The educational would mean all educational records that pertain to the students. And of course, the students have rights to privacy. And this act was passed to protect those rights of the students and their family. Now, what rights? FERPA gives parents certain rights. Now, also, it's important to understand that this act also encompasses something called the eligible student. And what the eligible student is once the student turns 18 years old or enters college, whichever comes first, they are then entitled to those rights. But up until that point, the parent is the one that that is in charge of basically for overseeing and making sure that those rights are being carried out. Now there are 4 basic rights that are bestowed to the parent or the eligible student through FERPA. The first is the parents or the students have the right to inspect or review their files, their educational files. We always hear about the student file that's locked up in the office and holds all of the secrets about the student. At any time, if a parent were to walk into our school today and request to review their student's file, through FERPA, they are entitled to do so. So we cannot prevent them from viewing any part of their file that pertains to their education. Second, the parents or eligible student can do something, or can something be changed or corrected in the student's file if they feel that there's inadequate information. Now, what this means is by reviewing that file, if they feel that there's something in there that isn't right, or has been recorded incorrectly, or is totally wrong, they may request something to be changed, or that that incorrect information. While they can request that, there are proper steps that they have to go through. First, they have to file a formal request with the school. Most of the time, I believe that if it was just a misprint or a problem, this would be an easy change that would be done by the administration. But in the case that the school does not agree with the parent's request and does not agree with changing that information, then a hearing must take place. Now through that hearing, if it is decided then that the school was correct and the parents, their request to change the information was denied, then the information stays in the educational file as is. But the parent is given the opportunity to place a note within the file stating that they disagreed with that information and the reasons for it not to be changed. The third right that is guaranteed under FERPA is the disclosure right. Now this is the protection of the student's file to be disclosed to specific agencies or locations without meeting certain qualifications. Now there are certain people that are entitled to those educational files, and as you see, I have them listed here. One would be school officials that have concern. If a teacher wanted to pull a file and read the past history, they may do so. Other schools that the students are transferring to, we transfer those files over, and we do not have to have parental consent to do that. Also, specific officials or audit for evaluation process. If there is an audit that is being done, or if a principal or an administrator would like to evaluate things and use that student's file as a reference for that evaluation, they may do so. Appropriate parties in connection with financial aid to a student. So if there was some financial need or financial requests being made, the file may be disclosed. Also, organizations conducting certain studies on behalf of the school. So if a study is being done, or student teacher is there, and so on, that file may be disclosed to them. An accredited organization is also entitled to those files. If a school is subpoenaed or is judicially ordered to release those files to an individual, the school must comply with the court system's request. And then the last two are appropriate visuals in cases of health and safety emergencies. In the case of police or doctors needing file, we could release those files without parent consent. Or take place with parents' consent, and then state and local authorities, the legal system if need be. The fourth right is the school may disclose information of each student for a directory. Now, this is information that can be disclosed of a student without that consent of the parent, unlike that last listing. Now, these are things like their name, their address, their phone number, when they were born, any honors or awards that they may have received, and their attendance records. But the underlying, the fine print here is that if the student's request for that information, if the parent's request for that information not to be disclosed, then it will not have to be disclosed as long as the parent has given the school enough time to remove that information. So in other words, they can't ask for that information to be removed after 350 directories have been passed out before have been printed before enrollment. It has to be done in adequate time, but it can be removed. Now, each year parents need to be, and eligible students need to be informed of these rights. And I know at Scott City Middle School we have lots of ways that we inform them of their rights through FERPA. One is those enrollment papers. They get a sheet at enrollment that informs them of all rights that they have as a parent through FERPA, that protection of their privacy. Secondly, it's in our agenda book. The students have access to that act and can take that and read through it if ever they feel that act is not being followed properly. And then also, I know that the office has flyers available if parents request them. But I do think that possibly in our building we could put that information on our district website, because we are tending to lead a little bit more to that technology as far as information with our students. I hope today through this presentation that FERPA is not a foreign word to you, that you know that even though you are just a classroom teacher and you don't have an IEP or an individualized learning plan that you need to protect for the student, you still have their educational privacy that you need to keep as a responsibility to yourself. Please at all times protect those children's privacy. And if you ever question something or need to know if it's the right thing, if it doesn't feel right, please at any time consult administration, because they will be able to direct your concerns. Thank you.